I am that I am, Saint Germain in service, and I welcome you to this gathering this evening. It is with heart that I address you, for I know that many of you have been struggling of late, that you have been walking a troublesome journey, particularly within the last 3 weeks. These last 3 weeks have been particularly testing to particularly light workers, but also the greater global population. And this is because as a collective, human beings had decided that it was now time to break through those old patterns, to come to a new level of awareness. And this has been building for quite some time. And we can attribute this to the many forerunners, those light workers who came here to help raise the vibrations and bring the planet into a new state of consciousness. They finally broke through a barrier. And through this, it caused a ripple effect through the entire planet, causing much upheaval. Now take heart. Although this is a very challenging time for many, this is also a time for the closing of doors to the past. This is a time of tying up loose ends, of getting everything in your lives in order to move forward. And this is a very important time because the next 6 months we will see a raising of the intensity of the vibrations coming to the planet. This is the first wave. That barrier was broken, and with that, new waves shall be building upon each other. So this can be a very intense time for those who still had not tied up loose ends, those who were still hanging on to that which was meant to be released in 2012. And I spoke about this previously, but 2012 did not exactly unfold as predicted. It left a lot of people feeling bruised and unable to actually move forward. So this year has been a second chance in really breaking through those barriers and raising the consciousness that was meant to occur in 2012. Now in 2012, there was many vibrations that were raising at the time, but it brought people to a place where they realized they weren't quite ready. And it brought people to a realization within themselves that they were still not quite ready to let go of their humanness, because in creating that evolution of spirit, in moving forward in your evolution of consciousness, there are many old paradigms that must be released. There are many old ways of thinking and being which no longer serve the higher vibrations on the planet, but many were not ready to release those and receive the new energy. However, I guess you can call it higher selves of many souls now said, enough is enough, no more stagnation, no more dwindling in the past. It is now time to break forth, and this is what happened 3 weeks ago when that barrier dissolved. And so this has resulted in many different scenarios of big change for many individuals. And as I said previously, the light workers have been hit the hardest because they were ready for the biggest change. So I want to really reiterate that those who have been hit the hardest were ready for the change. And to know that it is in their higher purpose, their higher self, their higher good that it has happened, because these souls are pushing for the journey home. They're pushing for enlightenment to self-actualization. And in order to do that, old things must crumble. Old energies must be resolved and finished and ended. And this has occurred in many ways on a very large scale right through past lives. It wasn't just energies that were held in this lifetime. So in the moving forward, you will now see that people will start to change, and they will change in ways that even themselves they will not understand. They will feel a little bit lost, and this is normal because the mind will reach for an identity. But there really is no true identity but the I am. You are all and everything. You have the spark of creation, and you can be all things. It is the mind that tells you that you must put yourself into a certain category. And this no longer serves the soul who is increasing their vibration, because as their vibration increases, they realize that there is much more to them than the personality or the category that they have put themselves in. They can be all things. And this causes a lot of conflict in people, because seeming things that would to them be at odds, they find that they are both. And this is fine, this is normal, this is understanding the expansiveness of your nature. It is okay to be two contradicting things according to the mind at once. It is okay to be two contradicting things over the course of a day. You could feel a certain way 1 hour and feel another way 2 hours later. And that is okay. And this comes back to where we speak about the importance of being present, of being in the moment. Because if the mind is still even back 10 minutes ago, it will be in conflict with the now, because everything is so changeable, everything is so movable at this time. So do not get caught up in being a certain way, in thinking a certain way, in doing things a certain way. And we know that when in this evolution, there's this point where the soul will start to lose those foundations. The soul will start to see through their personality, and they'll see through the personality of others, and they will also see through the ways of being that humans say that you should be like. And in this time, many will start to cling, or they will see that their old persona does not work anymore, and will try to reach out and create a new one. And we're encouraging you now, because we're seeing a lot of people doing this at present, who are trying to create a new persona, to just stop and be comfortable with just being, to connect in with the I am. You do not need a persona or an image that you must present to the world. It is unnecessary, and it is limiting, because when you put yourself into a category, you cannot act outside of that box. And when the mind gets focused on one thing, it becomes blindsided to all the other possibilities that are out there and available at any moment to be taken up and used, or to be taken and evaluated. So I want to really now express how much fun you can have with this. This isn't meant to be drudgery. This isn't meant to be a suffering experience as many religions have preached over years and years. You're not here to suffer. You are here to experience the divine experience of planet Earth, of what it is like to be in this body, of what it is like to have the breath. That in itself is a divine experience. So have fun now. Understand that there are limitless potentials all around you at any moment, and you can choose from any of them. You have that freedom. This freedom is your divine nature. So don't lock yourself in. If something is calling to you that is at odds with your old self, your old personality, or your way of viewing the world, go in and experience it. Give it a go. You may find that you open new doors for yourself, that you find a whole new area of which you can find joy. Allow yourself to explore. This is a very important time as the dust is still settling amongst the rubble, that you allow yourself to broaden your horizons and look out at which you may not have seen before because there was once a wall there. Allow yourself the experience of trying something new. For we watch many at this point standing in this crumbled foundation and grabbing bricks and mortar and trying to build what they used to have. Let it go, because it cannot be what it was. It simply cannot exist in the new energy. That is why it crumbled. It cannot exist in your vibration. If it could, it would still be here. So understand that anything that falls away, anything that seems like destruction, is actually a sign that you are evolving, that you are moving forward, and that you are allowing new energies and a new higher awareness to occur in your lives. We know that there is much fear, there is anguish, and we also do not want you to berate yourselves for feeling this, because this is also sacred. There is nothing wrong with mourning the past, with mourning what has happened. In fact, the more you fight these so-called negative emotions, the more they will hang around. So allow yourself to feel them in the moment they arise. Do not attach yourself to them. Do not bring in that very human, poor me. But do allow yourself to have the experience of sadness or anger or whatever it is that you are feeling in the moment. Because these deserve recognition also. These are also part of the human experience. And to deny them is to deny a large part of yourselves, for you hold the full spectrum within you. So really let that settle in your being. Do not berate yourself for feeling negative emotions as many in the New Age would have you do. Do not sit there and question, why did I attract this into my life? I want everyone to put that aside now, because we are now seeing people almost using it as a way to accuse others. Well, they can't be very enlightened if they attracted this bad situation into their life. This is not so. And this just shows a deep-seated fear of the, I guess you could say, the dark side or the negative side, as humans put it, of being human. Being human is going to have its ups and downs. It just is. And to say to yourself, what am I doing wrong for such a thing to occur? What am I doing to attract this into my life? Has almost become a way of bringing yourself down. Do not judge yourself so harshly. It is as it is, and that is it. If it happened, it happened. What matters is what you do in the moment. We see many of you getting stuck in your head and going over things over and over. Why did this happen? I must not meditate enough. I must not have enough positive thoughts. Put that aside now. That way of thinking is redundant. It does not serve anyone. What serves you is being fully accepting of every moment you are in. Allow it. Humans block themselves by not allowing that which is. And it does not mean that you allow yourself to be walked all over or used or abused, because in each moment you have the power to make a choice. But if you accept the situation for what it is as it is happening, then you can make the right decision for you in that moment. There is always a choice, even if that choice is how you perceive that situation in the moment. Let it be effortless. The more you are accepting of what is, the more you will find everything will begin to flow in your life. It does not mean that you will not have bad experiences, but you will certainly be able to deal with them a lot easier. And this is what this year is going to bring for many. So let it crumble. Let the old energy wind itself up, pack it away, and just let it be, and it will dissolve in its own time. If you feel a need to, on a physical level, wrap up old obligations, whether that's to people or situations, jobs, doesn't matter. If you feel that urge, just do it. Don't sit on it. Don't think about it. Should I put an end to this? Should I not? If you're having that feeling, then perhaps it is the time. Because this is your time to now shut doors and walk forward. It's very important to keep walking forward now, because if you find yourself in a stagnant place, everything around you will amplify until it comes to another crisis point where it crumbles. And we know that no soul enjoys feeling that. So just allow the energy to unfold as it is without judgment. Are there any questions? If there are none, I will continue. And I want to come back to this concept of being light of heart. For humans get too serious. And this is a shortcoming of the mind in most instances, as the mind will have its own ideas of how things are meant to unfold and how one must conduct themselves. And I'm not saying that you should berate the mind or tell the mind to go away, because the mind's always going to be there. It is what was gifted to you to allow you to navigate this world. But it is now time in the vibrations that are coming to Earth in this new energy to take a step back from the mind. It is too analytical. It does not have the capacity to understand the evolution of the soul. It is a great navigator on the physical realm, but do know that it is also there and it is programmed to keep you safe. So when you come to your new levels of being, when you start to raise your vibration, the mind will start to become fearful and anxious, because one, it does not know how to navigate this new territory, and two, it will begin to throw up any kind of thing that it feels could cause you harm. So remember that the mind is there to protect you. The problem is humans get too caught up in the mind. So do not try to shut the mind down, for it will not work, but learn to step back from it and observe its thoughts and its patterns, because you'll find as you observe, you will start to see that much of it are loops. It'll be the same thoughts over and over again. It may not be in the same way, but it will have the same underlying meaning. It'll have the same underlying purpose. And many people are feeling anxiety on the planet at this point because they are losing their identities. They are losing their senses of self. And the mind is going into damage control because it does not know how to operate in the world without an identity pattern. It needs that identity pattern in order to create a sense of being in this planet and how to act and react and how to navigate. But we are no longer navigating from the mind, we are navigating from our heart spaces now. And this is important to remember. It's time to come back to the feeling centers as Mother Earth, the feminine energies are now coming back in to bring balance to the masculine. So as the goddess energy comes into alignment with the god energy, the male and the female, you will find that you will be more emotional, and that you will find that your feelings can override your analytical thought processes, and this is okay because the balance will come back. It's just a matter of allowing that to settle now. So this is why many people are having complete mood swings. They feel teary, they feel emotional, they I guess are on this stormy kind of sea. And it's because the way in which you interact with the world is changing. Your feeling center is now coming back into alignment with your thinking center, your analytical. But you'll also find that as the divine feminine starts to really settle itself in your being and settle itself in on the planet, that your intuitive capacity will open. And there are many now who are finding that they are much more intuitive and knowing than they have been in the past. It is becoming easier, because that intuitiveness runs along the lines of the feminine, that feeling, flowing. So allow this to come in, and you will find that the veil between worlds will seem thinner. And this has been necessary in order to allow this new energy to come forward. Now, have any questions arise for anyone?
Can I ask a personal question?
Yes.
Can I ask, does this, what you have shared into the space this evening, seems to resonate strongly for my partner now? Can I ask for further insight around that?
So in regards to your partner, there's two, I guess, energetic strands that we must follow. And the first is that of karmic connections. It's that of past life connections. But the interesting thing about this is that these past life connections that have led him to where he is that they made him feel the victim in the past. They made him feel guilty. And so he's carried that energy into this lifetime. This victim and this, I guess you could kind of put it that people see him as an easy target because of his gentle nature, and he is bought into that way of being. He carries that in his being. So this is a time for him to really stand up and end that energetic cord. Say that I am no longer a scapegoat, I am not guilty, that I carry within myself my own inner strength, and I am not one who is going to carry the misgivings of others anymore. Or he tends to do that. So he must come to a place now where he realizes that he is worthy and he is deserving of all that, I guess, humans would call good. Because this guilt that he carries with him attracts these situations into his life. And the other strand on top of that is that he does not give himself enough space. He moves 10 steps ahead of where he is. He does not allow himself the time to really come back to where he is in the moment. He busies himself with too many projects. And in this, he's bought himself space. So when he comes out the other end of this journey, it will be a challenge to him once again not to fill his space with too many projects, because really he came to this planet to come back to self-actualization, and he's distracting himself from it. Although his pursuits are spiritual in nature, they take his energy away from himself. He needs to bring the energy back to himself. This is very important. And he's carried many lives as monks, but his challenge in this lifetime is to carry self-actualization in, I guess you can call, the modern world. Not in a monastery, not meditating on a mountain, but bringing it into his community and existing as a functional member of his community as an enlightened being, because that is what will bring forth the greatest change in others. His presence will shake up the energy in others. But this will not occur if he is in a monastery or on top of a mountain or in his cave as it has been for thousands of years. And back then that was a necessary thing to do because the energies could not carry it. And many, once they became enlightened, left the planet. But now we are talking about being an enlightened being in the flesh. And this is very challenging for the forerunners because this has not really occurred before. To live a full life as an enlightened being, it challenges others around them. It challenges the very energy around them. So that is why often there is friction, and this applies to everyone who is now walking this path and who is raising their vibration, because they have this vision in their head that it is all going to be this peaceful and magical experience, but what they're going to find is that they are holding energy that is too fine, too refined for this dense energy, the dense collective energy of the planet. That light blinds those of a lower vibration, so they will lash out because they are shining their light on the other's shadows. It makes others of a lower vibration uncomfortable. And this is why it has been such a challenge for the forerunners to keep bringing the vibration up, because they must do it with such challenges of the others of the lower vibrations around them. And I bring Jesus as an example here. They could not handle his energy, so they crucified him. But now it is happening. People aren't being crucified, and I really want to drive this home to everyone, because there is much fear surrounding this evolution, because many of you have been killed in the past because the others around you could not handle your light. But this is not going to happen now. So take that wall of fear aside and just let it unfold. But the main thing I want to say for your partner is it's no longer, he must now put aside the guilt and the idea that he is a victim. Put it aside. He's carried that for too many lifetimes now. And he's had to flee to the mountains often because of this energy he holds, this persecution. This is his chance to cut it. Does this make sense?
Yes. Deep gratitude. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
May I ask another question?
Yes.
May I ask how I can best support this journey for him?
For you to support him best is for you to come back to your stillness, to really come back to that place within you, the I am, because there is a connection between your souls, and what one does, the other does also. There's this energetic balance that occurs. So if you can meditate, if you can bring your life into alignment and live in accordance with the I am, that stillness, you send that energy to him. You do not need to send anything else. You do not need to create any other energies, because if you are in alignment with the I Am, your stillness, then all potentials arise from there. All of this is healed in there. So if nothing else, keep coming back to the stillness, because that will bring stillness in him. The more that you reside in the I Am, the more he will understand it. And you have that hook, that link to really sit in that space of the I Am. He doesn't quite have that yet. The more you do it, the more it will awaken in him. And that in that space, if he can sit in there, if he can learn to understand that stillness, then all those ties, those cords, those connections will just dissolve on their own without effort.
Thank you.
So as with that, I thank you for gathering this evening. In this space, often energy within yourself begins to rearrange. Old blocks, things in the subconscious begin to rearrange. They break forth. So in the next 3 days, I ask you to allow your energy to settle. You may feel a little emotional. You may feel a little unsettled. But in this space of intention to come back to enlightenment, yourselves, your collective energies, and those of the ascended masters and angels and gods and goddesses and all those who reside here in this space, allow you to break through blocks, allow you to come to a little bit higher vibration. So just allow that energy to settle over the next 3 days. I thank you for gathering here this evening. I am Saint Germain in service.